Toward a New Vision, Race, Class, Gender as a Category of Analysis and Connection by Patricia Hill Collins mentions many pressing topics. She discussed how race, class, and gender are equally oppressing. Many people view minorities being exclusively people of color. Sometimes we are so quick to be victimized, we are blocked from seeing oppression by others. Colin points out that we often assume that people we work with, teach, and send our children to school with, and sit next to, will act and be prescribed ways because they are given race, social, class, gender categories. Colin proposes questions throughout the reading. The first question is, how can we reconceptualize race, class, and gender as categories of analysis? When thinking of color, anyone considered a minority is automatically looked upon as lesser than. Assumptions are already made, however, these assumptions are incorrect and incomplete. Collins states that she is frequently asked, which has been the most oppressive to you, your status as a black person or your status as a woman? Her response to this is, why choose? If both experience our oppression, why analyze them differently? Without this mindset, people assume that African American women are seen more oppressed than anyone because they experience racial, class, and gender oppression all at the same time. Colin makes it a point to discuss even our universities. They may seem diverse, but in which ways? Are elite white men represented throughout the administration and board of trustees? What do the educators look like? Are the people of color working the support staff, cleaning, cooking, and fixing broken pipes? She also asks us to make a list. List characteristics that you would categorize as male and female. Does your list look like Colin's list? Masculines would have adjectives such as aggressive, leader, rational, strong, and intellectual, while the female list would have passive, follower, emotional, weak, and physical. She also points out that if we are asked to make a list of Black and Latino men compared to Black and Latino women, how different these lists would look from the list that we just made. I found this quote from Nancy White to be very interesting. She states that Black woman is a white man's mule and that a white woman is his dog. Both are very heavily worked and get beat whether they do well or not, but the woman is closer to the master, as he pats them on the head and lets them sleep in the house, but he ain't gonna treat one of them like he's dealing with a person. To complete the answer to this question, we need to refer to Colin's second question. How can we transcend the barriers created by our experiences with race, class, and gender oppression in order to build these types of coalitions essential for social change? Lors points out that change starts with the self and relationships that we have with those around us. We must always be the primary site for social change. We need to become aware of our everyday interactions. Are you surrounded by people who look like you? Who are your friends? This is all framing your individual self. Are you going to accept the things the way they are, or are you going to change them? Be open to listening and talking to others about their story and yours. Colin explains that she never knew what white poverty was. She was not surrounded by that, therefore she didn't know. Exposure and willingness to learn will start to fade these barriers as people become more aware. Building empathy for others based on race, class, and gender will expose you to different experiences. Colin ends this reading by asking you to examine your position and think of ways that you can make change. What are things in your life that are going like this reading, and what are ways that you can change? So my questions to the class is, how will you make an effort to change these categories of oppression in your everyday life?